definitely someday in the future when things get better. And it brings me great pleasure to, invite and introduce the guest for today because he's a partner with Pratap and Company, a litigation firm established in Delhi. He has a bachelor's in degree in dental surgery and another in law. Right, which is very interesting. I think that's one of the most interesting aspect, like a big drastic change that you've taken up in your life.
Thought process was, yeah, it was there. Basically, what happened was that I got into dentistry initially. I was actually to go to law or either going to the medicine. My father is a doctor, so
Right.
yeah. So that was the options I was given, since we are very traditional. So we given the
Right.
options instead of choosing back in the day. So I initially wanted to be a pilot all my
Oh,
life. I could not do that because that was apparently not supposed to be, what a
stitch.
field my father did not want me
Yeah.
to be in that. So so what happened was I was going for enrollment into Amity only, I think back in the day in 2002 or 3, but their law it got revoked there.
Oh,
Yeah. So for that, then I switched to this field, and then I moved to dentistry. I was there in the college 5 years, completed the course. I co-authored a book on anatomy with a
yeah.
very eminent anatomist in India, also in the world, Professor Mehdi Hassan. That was an amazing experience. We did clinical research together on a Treasure-Collins syndrome. It's a post-brachial arc syndrome. So we did clinical research on that. That was a good experience. But in dentistry, the thing was that I'm a very big bibliophile. I love books. I absolutely love reading books, and not just law books. Law books are now, but it's always been about varied subjects, not just one. I'm all over the.
Right.
So I always found the curriculum of dentistry to be very restrictive, because it's very restrictive field. There's not
Right.
much to it, and in the end of the day, by the time you reach fourth year and your internship there, the clinicals, it becomes very mechanical. There's not much, as we call it in law, application of the mind. It's not there. It becomes
Right.
mechanical. The patients come, you keep on doing your thing. Goes on like that. I always felt very restrictive in there, because then I was like, okay, I have to change my profession. So I thought I'll revert back to what I was originally supposed to do. And then I got into university, Lucknow University. I did my LLB there. But if you ask why I chose law as a field, I would always say that uh, this diversity of views and opinions that are there.
Right.
Like when I was studying, and you can see on one spectrum of the lawyers, if you see, you have Nelson Mandela, you have Mahatma Gandhi, you have
Right.
Abraham Lincoln, and on the other spectrum, which is diametrically opposite, you have Vladimir Putin, who is also a lawyer, by
Right.
the way, the Chinese president. He is also a lawyer, and the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, again a lawyer. These are top three of the top 10 powerful people in the world. That's the list. You come back to India, we had the Constituent Assembly, and we had like more than 50% of the people, the members there were
Right.
lawyers. That's why we have a huge constitution.
Right. Right.
So yeah, that was there. I mean, I was like, okay, this is one field where you can actually get to study about so many things. you know uh, and especially the best part about practicing in Supreme Court is that we get to
True.
study about everything. We cannot specialize. Nobody in Supreme Court specializes. Like, you are good at something, but
Right.
you never specialize, right? We get cases where from we get IPR, we get civil cases, we get criminal cases, arbitration cases, then we get specialized cases in entertainment law, media law, aviation. It's like all kinds of fields are there represented over there. So that was another reason I chose law, and I moved to it. Family was very supportive. Okay, it's okay. And my sister was very supportive. Both of my sisters,
Yeah.
they were investment bankers. They moved from investment banking to this. I moved from dentistry to this. Then we started the firm.
Right. So it's like, I think, in short, it's like you were bored in your like previous life because it became monotonous,
Boredom.
and you wanted excitement, and that's where you find. So I think, people like comprehend a lot, overthink a lot. I want to change a like stream of
It's true.
career at such a point of my life, and they think about. I think a mere reason like excitement. You took such a big decision, and I think you're way happier. I can see that
I am. It's very
because I
fulfilling. It truly is fulfilling.
so I think it's never too late to do what you want. Like I think that's what I've gathered from your answer. So I think that's the main crux of the story, that do what you want at whatever age, because at the end of the day
Absolutely.
happiness matters.
Absolutely.
So okay, so moving on to the second question that I wanted to ask is like you're a partner of a firm, a litigation firm, one of the leading litigation firms right now. And like the most, and you run it with most of your family members, especially your sisters, as you said.
Yeah.
So you hear this, that do not mix business and family, do not mix business and like friends. So has that ever been the case, or like has it been all positive for you?
I actually don't agree with that statement entirely because most of the families have, are run by the business.
Right,
Business is run by families largely.
right,
Most of the startups that you see,
right,
including the very big ones, like if you go for Google, they were all friends. Like Sergey Brin and Larry Page were friends. Go for Apple, there was Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak, both were friends. So I think it is when you are working with somebody whom you know for years, you know what the issues are, you know how they are, how they will react to a certain situation, what they will think about it, so it is easier to find a common ground when
right.
working together. I think that has been very useful, and we are a very close knit family. And I can assure you that I'm the youngest among all three. I get no special treatment from my parents. I get no special treatment from my sisters. So it's not like that. I think if I was working somewhere else, I think I may get some better treatment. But it's like, if it's said that this has to be done, I would prefer that I get assigned the cases that I want to do, but that doesn't happen. So most of the time, the cases I don't want to do get assigned to me also. So it's there. We all live in the same neighborhood also.
So
Like
I think
you
very
asked us,
close
yeah,
knit.
so everybody, yeah, both my sisters, me, parents, everybody nearby only, walking
Right.
distance. So we are a very close knit bunch. So
So I think that works in your favor, and I think you one of the examples when somebody says that do not mix friends and business and family, then people can quote you and your sisters that you were doing
yes,
successfully
we
well,
were able to, yes.
and
But
I think your answer would like help a lot of people. So like let's move on to something very obvious that's stated for every lawyer, which is the money factor. So dentists, I hear like dentists make like a lot of money, and lawyers make a lot of money. So do you think like law is a very lucrative career, and like and it's said that when money is involved, lawyers like leave their principles and their beliefs. So is it true when it comes to litigation, and like you ever seen it or like experienced it in your life?
law is definitely a lucrative profession, but people think that yes, you have to compromise with your belief systems. But I think it is possible to actually be within inside your belief system, and you can actually find a niche inside your belief system.
Right,
You don't have to just compromise on your principles and your belief system just to become successful. I think if, if for example a person is an environmentalist and they're more passionate about environment, they can actually work into that. They can
feel as well.
practice at the National Green Tribunal. If you want to take
Right.
social litigations, public interest, you want to work for that, you have, it gives you an option to explore, because I guess in when it comes to belief system, I'm not sure exactly what particular belief system are you talking about. But if you think criminal litigation, even we decline some criminal matters that we are not
Right,
comfortable with. We all do that all the time. But
right.
in that situation, like for students who like the future generations of lawyers that are going to be there, I can always say that you can have that one morally gray friend you can refer the matter to if you don't want to do it.
Definitely.
So that you can find a way out of it. And if for example in corporate litigation, if you're talking if you are you have a belief system, like, I don't think that is there anymore, but like if you have a Marxist Leninist
Yeah.
bend, or if you have new Luddite kind of a bend, then yeah, it will be a problem for you there. But I don't think that extreme viewpoint is going to be of much use, considering that the times we are living, and we know that
Mm-hmm.
capitalism actually won this round. And you can actually find Che Guevara, who was actually a very big socialist.
Hmm.
His T-shirts in the mall, some capitalist is selling and making money off of that. So we can exactly actually say that, okay, you.
Right. So I think because of the diversity of the subject, you can, like, adjust your niche. Like, I think a very appropriate answer. And yeah, so like talking about the COVID time. So you've seen a very different kind of, law school, and you've
Yeah.
gone through some struggles, probably in the field, probably back in school. And I think all of us keep on facing, and you'll probably face it in future. So like, how have you handled it as an individual, as a litigator?
Law school has largely been very uneventful. I come from a very vanilla, state law university, so it was pretty uneventful. But I did get to learn a lot of that from the school I was there before that, my dental school. Uh, you know, uh, it is the one thing that I've learned from over the period of time is that
Right.
when I actually stepped into the profession, you know, uh, it was very welcoming. I would not say that it was not, but still there was certain biases that people had. Like
Mm-hmm.
why did I always get asked that question? I still do by the clients, by colleagues. It's there. Why did you change the profession? Why did you move from that? And I have to give that answer. I'm doing that for more than a decade now. It's getting it is getting very but now what I have learned, and this is something I would recommend all of you to do, is in this profession, there's a book I would recommend here. I think you're a bibliophile like me.
Yeah, definitely,
Okay,
definitely.
so David Goggins,
Yeah.
maybe you've heard his name. He had a book called Can't Hurt Me, I think that was the name. So he always says that you have to grow a thick skin,
Hmm.
and you have to callous your mind. That
Hmm.
is most important, callousing your mind, because in the profession, when you come, then you will be, first you will come as a junior associate, intern, then a junior associate, then seniors will be there, and seniors, senior advocates, it's going to be there, the way they talk, it's not going to be very, and
Very
then you're going to go to the courts. When you go
right.
to the courts, you're a junior lawyer, the bench is not going to be go easy on you. So they will be saying things in front of 50 other people, and yeah, you will feel embarrassed and all that. But you have to callous your mind. You cannot be like a person who can take things to the heart. You have to let go
Right.
of these things. In this profession, yes, you have to do that. I think it is best. It's a good life advice, I think. If you callous your mind, it will be easier for you in this profession.
I think you've rightly put, and that we need a thick skin to survive in this industry because
Definitely.
it's a vast industry. You see types of people. I think from like the elitist of class to the lowest of class, and that's the beauty of this field, that you don't know who might say what, and it's who's in what
And you
mood.
will be dealing with all of them
Yeah, right. So I think I
across the
think that's
spectrum. You will be dealing with these people.
that's very right, that and like I think firstly it was like the women need to suffer, but I think now, because I'm in this field, I see that even the men, like my co-part, like co-colleagues, so they also face a lot of discrimination, which is very different than what
You
I
will.
face as a woman. So I think it, irrespective of gender, class, caste, you do need to, like, suffer a lot, and it's great that you have a thick skin. So okay, so like you said that you come from a very vanilla school, so you've not, like, you, of course, you've not done it from an NLU because 3 years. So the fact is, like, do you think, because you're in the field now, so do you think that coming from an LLU or like prominent schools of law, do you think that plays a greater role when it comes to the future of the student?
So there are benefits of coming from a good like an LUs or one of the big ones. Uh, the major thing I personally think is that litigation not so much, but in corporate I think they're doing very good. So their network is all over. It's there, and they that can help you. And then you will have a ready network of people, because see, when it comes to NLU, these big institutions, people from all over the country are there.
Right.
You have a ready network, and somebody in maybe in Delhi has a client in Hyderabad, and they want
Mm-hmm.
somebody who's asked them to find them
Hmm.
a lawyer in Hyderabad. You can always refer to your friend, you can, or batchmate, your senior, your junior. So
Hmm.
this is a very good thing. So that is there. That is one thing about these colleges. Second thing I personally think about these colleges is that uh, you get more exposure because they are very active. They have
Right.
moot court competitions going on. They have seminars, webinars,
Mm-hmm.
events. They're getting guest
Mm-hmm.
lecturers from different colleges. So that kind of exposure is also there, which is also very useful from these. Yeah,
So I
that's.
think it does put you over the edge when it comes to network and like,
But in
getting the
the end of the
exposure.
day, I might add, in the end of the day, it is your hard work that counts.
Right.
It gives you an edge, but in the end, you can actually compensate for that.
Right. Like it's up to you as a student as to how you use the resources that is being provided to you. It could be that, you're given everything in the world, but you still don't use it to the right reasons and you
Definitely.
end up with the last. So I think that's up to the students at the end of the day. So, because you're a litigator, so, and I'm somebody who wants to pursue an LLM in future. So it's something that is personal. Like this question is something that comes from my heart. And I've asked many other lawyers as well, and I've heard like different answers. So I want to know, like, if I do an LLM today, does it really help me if I want to be a litigator after that? Like, does it play a role?
Uh, as far as LLM is concerned, I think yes, it provides you with specialized knowledge. Like you do an LLM in, I don't know, air and space law, you can do LLM in cyber law or something that is new and upcoming fields in law.
Right.
Even arbitration, doing one on international
Mm-hmm.
arbitration is also very good. Uh, that is that's nice, but then corporate law in corporate law it will also give you an edge if you're
Right.
with the corporate side of things. They are always looking for people who are
Mm-hmm.
specialized in their own industry when they're
Mm-hmm.
hiring a GC or when they are hiring a
Mm-hmm.
corporate firm. The third thing is if you are going into academia, I
Mm-hmm.
think an LLM is mandatory. I mean, I think it
Mm-hmm.
is right. You have to have it. You have to.
Yeah.
Litigation, I, being a litigator, I think I'll be a 50-50 on that because
Yeah.
as far as litigation is concerned, if you want to go
Mm-hmm.
into pure litigation, you know, then I think your experience inside the court, uh, being in the court, observing the court crafts, then for having trial court experience, going through all that, going through judgments, and these things are more important because LLM will you'll still be restricted to a theoretical side
Right.
of things rather than the practical aspects of it and how to practically use it in the courts. So I think more experience you'll get if you. But I think lately LLM is like what 1 year
Yeah,
in
like
most
in
institutions.
Europe, yeah, I think
In
it's in
India, they
Europe.
were planning to make it 2 years. Have they done that
Yeah,
one?
I don't think the notice has been passed, but I don't think they've implemented anything
They
on
have
it
not implemented.
as of not. Like
So
as of now, what is
I
known.
think a 1 year sabbatical from I think
Right.
good to do it.
Right. So like, yeah, that's the thing. Like if you decide to do it for the right reasons,
Yeah,
not like, like
just
I
for your
think
resume.
yeah, like I think that's the worst thing you can do and like spend
That's
like good amount of money in it.
it.
So
It
I
is.
think like yeah, and okay. So the thing is like we have students who are gonna be watching us probably who've either here in the last years or like they've recently graduated. And I think this is one question that I've come across a lot because I mentor students on the sidelines. So what they ask is that we get questions like what are our weaknesses, why are we good for the company, and they go blank over it because this is something that they're not prepared at least in the law schools for, because this is where the law schools are lacking as of now. So
That's like a typical HR question.
yeah,
I think it's not
exactly.
a
I
law.
think I don't know. Like I think
Is
that's
it
that.
is it true? Like most of the law firms, I
Yeah,
senior
I
advocates
think
don't do that as far as I know. Even we they must be, yeah,
I
because I
understand
think they
because
have
they were
HR
asking.
companies,
Yeah,
HR
HR like
dealing with them.
the ones who
The
filter the
entire
clients.
vertical
Yes,
of HR dealing
yeah.
with them.
So I think that's what
Headhunters they
they're
have.
they're asked like strengths and weaknesses, but like of course in the legal aspect, like how well are you writing and like speaking and everything, and they go blank because that's what they're not expecting.
Yeah, that's fair. See, I think if I ask you that question, I think it is best to be, honest about it. I'm saying that for a reason because if you're honest with me in saying that you have a certain weakness, I will know that you are self-aware of that. I know that you will be working on that also. You will try to now you know that this is the problem that you have. You will be working on that. If I hire you, I will know that this is the area that this person is lacking, and I
Right.
can also support you and build it up. Like I remember Carl Jung used to say this. I used to read a lot of Carl Jung back in the day, and he used to say that you have to make the unconscious conscious,
Right.
or else it will decide your fate. Or the unconscious will continue to decide your fate. So the thing is that you need to know that you need to accept what your problems were. I can actually give you an example about myself. I'm a very introvert kind of person. I like to hang out with my own people whom I can talk about my interests only. So I'm not very out there kind of person. But lately I'm trying to change. I am like a very anti social media networker kind of a person. I deactivated my Facebook account way back in 2013 when people were starting it. So lately I've started because we also have a company policy that we are supposed to have a LinkedIn profile and everything. Which again, like, I work with my sisters, they have made that policy. I'm supposed to follow it even though I don't want to. So that is there. So I think I'm working on that now. So I'm trying to be an extrovert. But this is one thing about this profession. This is an industry where extroverts thrive.
Right,
This
right,
is because you are there. You are supposed to be talking to your, like, I can compare it to what I was before, like a dentist. You're a dentist. You have your clinic. You're doing your work. You don't get to interact. But in this profession, you get to interact with your co-professionals every day.
right.
Even the person on the bench, the judge, was a lawyer. You're interacting
Yeah.
with them all the time. And then you have to interact with your clients, you have to interact with your support staff, then the registry people, so many things that you have to do with. So yeah, this is one industry where I think absolutely extroverts thrive, and that is one thing I'm working on.
So right, like working on your weaknesses is way better than
being
going lying
self-aware
about it.
being self-aware of your weakness is very
Yeah,
important, and
I
being
think
working on that, then only
I
you
think
can work
that's
on
how
that.
you grow, and that's how you are here today. And as you said, it's like social media is something that's growing. So I think being an extrovert is very important when it comes to today's time, be it any field. So that's the thing. So like, I just want to know, like, you're a litigator. So like, what kind of skills would a student need today, like in their law school, and they need to build something that today that might help them become a better litigator tomorrow? What can they do at during the school days?
uh, I could actually have said this, but as of now, as of today, that is becoming more redundant. You can have. I don't know if you and your friends have done this, but you know, uh, Delhi High Court, when it was virtually functioning, and most of the trial
Right.
courts, they were virtually functioning. The cause list was actually available on their website.
Yeah.
You can access the courtroom, and whenever you have time from your curriculum at college, you can actually just log in and observe. You can observe what
Right.
the senior counsels are arguing,
Hmm.
how they are dealing with the questions that the bench is putting onto them. And the most interesting thing is you also get to know the procedures of the court.
Right.
You
I
know,
think
and,
that's way
and the
more important.
diversity of matters that you can actually
Mm-hmm.
you can go through the cause list, you can go through the roster of the courts, and you
Hmm.
can find which, like, if you're an arbitrator, and if you are here in Delhi High Court, Justice Vibhu Bhakru is, I think, on that roster. Then there are criminal matters. Justice Mukta Gupta is there for bail matters. So whatever interests you, you can actually access to that court, see the proceedings, and can get a real feel at this time.
Hmm.
So at sitting at your home or your hostel, you can do that. So
Right.
this has been very conducive for students like that. That is one thing you could have done, but I don't think that. I think that's going to be redundant now, because I think this we are on the ending of this whole thing that is going on for the past few
Right.
years. That is one thing you could do, and hard work is something that is most important in this field. Reading. So I
Right.
think reading is one thing. You have to read a judgment every day. We have 25 high courts in India. We have Supreme Courts, we have tribunals for almost everything in this country.
Right.
Every day the law is evolving. Every day something new is coming up, and keeping up with that it's insane. You cannot keep up with that. You actually have to the new judgment that has come, that is new judgment that has come. And but I also say that one thing is very important that most people overlook is that have trial court experience. You have
Mm-hmm.
to always, even if you want to go into corporate side, I think it will do you
Hmm.
good only if you have trial court experience. I always say, if you're doing internship or looking for internship, you should do some time with a civil litigator and spend some time with a criminal litigator. That way you have the whole overview of
Hmm.
the law, how it is.
Right.
So yeah, hard work, reading judgments every day, keeping yourself up to date with what's going on. I think that would be very helpful. It will also be helpful in your exams, I think.
So I think you've given a very out of the box answer, because when I ask this question, usually people assume that the answer is going to be have good speaking skills, have presentation skills, how you should have like confidence. But what you've said is observation, reading, and listening is something, and just seeing as to how things work, because you might know how to speak, but if you don't know what to speak, then what's the use of know how to speak, right?
And the way you have to put it to the bench, because
Right.
it is in the end of the day, you're there's this joke that goes around a lot in this in our profession, which is that who's a good lawyer, the lawyer who knows the judge, but that is
Yeah.
meant in a completely different context. But
Yeah.
I would say, yeah, it is good to know the judge. You need to know the bench
Who you're
in the
speaking
sense
to.
that how that person is going to react, what that person wants to listen, what inclination they have. For a litigating lawyer, you need to know that, and you can actually know that if you're observing any courtroom, and you
Hmm.
will know exactly where the judge is inclined, you know
Right.
so that gives you an edge as a litigator.
I think that's a
Knowing,
good skill if you use it in your daily life also, because if you like if you know how to speak to your client, because you need to know how to speak to your client, because you
I
might trigger.
actually missed that, but you've pointed correctly that you have to know that also.
Exactly. I think that's
that's
a
other
very good
half of
skill.
that's other half of our work.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's a very good skill if you learn as a lawyer. I think that you learn how to like judge your audience and know how to speak and like exactly what to say, because you have to sell yourself. Like, at the end of the day, you have to sell yourself. You're a product, you need to sell yourself. So I
Yes.
think you've like put up a very non-conventional image of litigators, which is very great. So like the last question that I'll ask you for today is like we have students all across India who's going to watch it, who's watching us today. So like what exactly advice you might have for them, so that tomorrow if they have any doubts and like any problems with this field, because if people question every day that is law the right field, is law something that will be fruitful tomorrow, because it's a very like an intensive thing to do, because there's too much to study, as you said. So like any advice for those students?
I personally think what I have observed and what I know, that law is going to be it's an expanding field. We have new areas of law opening almost every day. We who heard about crypto laws, who heard about drone laws.
Right.
Every day we are having something new coming up, and they are making, and parliament, I think the parliament has been extremely busy lately. They are bringing up new laws, they are amending the old ones. It's crazy the amount of amendments that are coming in existing laws. You're trying to keep up with that. Every year you're supposed to get your the barracks
Like,
updated just to
updated,
keep up
yeah.
with that. It is there. That is there. And the one important thing I want to say is that apart from this, hard work is very important in this profession. That is the most important thing that you have to do. Uh, in But right now, as a student, I think the problem that you will be facing is that you will be sticking to your curriculum, which will largely be theory based
Right.
curriculum. So I don't think you will have time to read the judgments or biographies. There's a flood of biographies of
Right.
jurists and litigators. I think every other month there is a new one coming. It's very hard to keep up with that also. uh, but reading is extremely important. You have to make it habit, and you have to inculcate that. Law is expanding. It will continue to expand. I think for another 2 decades, 2 to 3 decades, it will keep on. It will expand further, even beyond that, because I think after 2 decades, we will have a lot of thing going on in the space law segment.
Right.
That is upcoming, and that is where the next big, opportunity is going to be for lawyers. There will be a lot of conflicts there, but I think that's where we thrive as a profession. Where the conflicts are, we are there. So I was talking about hard work. That is one thing I always say. I actually wanted to tell about a story. I am a very big, fan of Greek mythology.
Right.
So in Greek mythology, there's a story of a Corinthian king named Sisyphus. So Albert Camus, I think maybe you must have heard of him. He was a French Algerian philosopher.
I think I've heard his name,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's pronounced Albert Camus, but I think it's written Albert Camus. So he wrote an essay called "The Myth of Sisyphus." So
Hmm.
basically, the story of Sisyphus is that Sisyphus was a king of Corinth, and he was punished by Zeus for cheating death twice. So his punishment was, they were very imaginative. This is the thing about Greek mythology; they're very imaginative about their punishments. So his punishment was that Zeus asked Hades to punish this guy Sisyphus, and what his punishment was, he was supposed to roll a big boulder up a
Hmm.
mountain, and as soon as he reached the peak of the mountain, the boulder was going to roll back. So he does, and this is supposed to go on till eternity. So I think probably today also he's doing that in Mount Olympus, if it's true. So the reason I said this is that Albert Camus, when he said that, uh, in this in Myth of Sisyphus, he wrote about this. He said that uh, we are always so fixated about our goal to reach the peak of the mountain and to get the boulder there. But from this particular story, we learn that it is not the destination, like not the goal that should make you motivated and proud. It's
Yeah,
the path
the
to it.
journey. Yeah,
The journey that you. So you have to learn to enjoy the journey. And at least, I mean, compared to Sisyphus, we know that we have a finite amount of time. So I think this is a story that it always motivates me. There's this very beautiful painting. I've ordered it. It has not arrived yet, by Italian artist Titian. That painting has that photo of him actually carrying the boulder. Very
folder.
motivating. I find it very motivating. So we have to, work on this, and we will eventually reach our destination, I think, and we will reach our goals. But you
Right.
have to enjoy the process,
The journey.
the
I think
journey,
that,
the
that
process. You have to enjoy.
I think, as you've said, because you didn't enjoy the dentistry journey, that's why you chose a different path, right?
Yes,
Because I think that's the end of the end of everything you do. That you need to enjoy, you need to work hard because nothing comes easy. Like it's nothing's handed over to you, even if you're born with a silver spoon. Because till what extent will it be handed to you? You have to work someday or the other, I think. And again, you need to learn the basic skills, which is reading and writing. I think in this field, so I think that's something that will help the students and me as well because I am a student as well, and I probably meet you someday when I enter the legal fraternity and
yes,
get
yes.
to work
Run into
alongside
each other.
you. So definitely. So sir, it's been an incredible session, and I'm glad that you decided to join the legal fraternity, and we could have this conversation today, and I could learn this much from
It
you.
was a pleasure. It's
Uh,
always fun
and
talking to the next generation of lawyers, the litigators, and the corporate lawyers.
Definitely. I think that's why I also take a keen interest in doing this because I get to interact with people from different fields and I get to hear their perspective about things that I have a perception about. So it gives me like a wide range of thinking process, which I think is very helpful when it comes to making a decision tomorrow. So I think a lot of gratitude from the side of the team
I
Legal
also,
Shastra.
if we have some time, I think we
Yeah,
have some
definitely,
time.
definitely.
Justice Rohinton Nariman actually said this, since we were talking about this, the diversity of fields. Justice Nariman said, I think in his retirement speech, he said that, that it is best that lawyers are going to have as much diverse experience that they have. Uh,
Right.
from like Justice Nariman himself, I think he was a BCom from SRCC. Then
Hmm.
he became a lawyer. Justice Chandrachud, he did his BA in economics from St. Stephen's. Then he became a lawyer. These both are from law fac only, both of them. So probably your senior, very super senior. But yeah, diversity is very important. Xi Jinping, the president of China, he was a chemical engineer and then he did law.
So I think that's where actually I've seen law faculty. I think 3 year law. The beauty of 3 year law is this only. You get to meet people from diverse, places, and the experience that you hear. I think that helps them
It
in
does
their life.
absolutely
And
immensely.
I think the fact that you've said that it's ever changing. The field of law is so ever changing because recently I heard about the metaverse laws that people are talking about.
Yes, I was actually reading about that. That's
So I
also
think
there.
I think that is something that it's ongoing. Like I don't see where there's going to be full stop to this career. So it's an ever growing career. I think everybody can build a niche today. Like I don't think 5 years back anybody would have thought there's something called space law, because it wasn't accessible. So I think that's the beauty of the subject, and I think you've beautifully portrayed it today. I think no better person who's shifted drastically two careers would have not been able to do it. So it's been a great session. We have had an immense time, and I'm pretty sure who's going to watch it tomorrow is going to have a great time too.